Today we're going to be talking about adverse childhood experiences and how they can have long-term effects across the lifespan on Mental Health Minute with Kim. Between 1995 and 1997, Kaiser Permanente and the Centers for Disease Control carried out a study of over 17,000 participants. The study was called the Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACEs study. And what they did is asked participants if they had experienced certain types of negative life events before the age of 18. Now, these life events include things like sexual, physical, and emotional abuse, parental neglect, seeing their mother being abused, having a substance use disorder in the household, having a family member incarcerated, and a few other things. And what they found out is that across the lifespan, people who had any of these adverse childhood experiences before the age of 18 were at increased risk for developing physical, mental health, behavioral, and other kinds of problems later in life. I'm going to throw up a diagram now. It's a pyramid of the ACEs study so that you can see what kinds of things can happen if a person has experienced any of these adverse childhood events. So at the bottom we see that if a person experiences adverse childhood events, that can lead to social, emotional, and cognitive impairment. It can lead to adoption of health risk behaviors. It can lead to disease, disability, and social problems. And it can also actually lead to early death. If a person has experienced even one of the adverse childhood events, they're at a higher risk of developing any of these problems that we talked about on the pyramid. And keep in mind that the higher a person's ACEs score, or the more events that they've experienced before the age of 18, the more risk there is of developing these kinds of problems. This is why therapists like myself, one of the reasons why we ask about people's history. We need a good, well-rounded picture of people so that we can figure out what treatment is right for them, what kinds of factors may have contributed to the problems that they're having now, and how best to help them. I'm going to put up a website that you can find more information about the ACEs study if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next week.